What's up, everybody? This is Husbands Know Better. I'm Ben Husband. This is my brother Daniel Husband, our dad Daryl Husband. Today, we're going to talk about some of the Western Conference playoff picture in the NBA. Laughing because before we even get into this, we've already started some of the discussion. We've got Daniel, who's a Grizzlies fan over here. I'm a Kings fan. This is big topic for us. And before we even get started, Dad, you were talking a little bit about the Grizzlies and some of their hopes. You want to finish up what you were saying?
As long as they can stay, you know, they're not going to, I don't think they're going to go any lower than eighth. And I'll be really surprised if in the playing game they beat the Clippers. But I liked the,
This is it. This is if standings stay true and the Clippers stay in seven and Minnesota doesn't drop.
It could
correct.
happen. Yep.
It could happen. You're right. I mean, I think I was just expecting them to kind of stay as is. But I mean, the the Grizzlies, presuming that the Clippers would get the seven, the Grizzlies would lose to them and beat either Dallas or the Kings. I don't see the Suns making it in. Honestly, the matchup between Houston and the Grizzlies is not a horrible one for you guys. I would think that it would be more horrible for you guys to play the Nuggets, the Lakers, older teams. I
Oh,
mean, young teams you guys kind of match up better with, and young teams that don't have a dominant center.
I I completely agree with you. The general conversation that's been around Memphis is if we have to go against anybody that is a seasoned playoff team, it's gonna be lights out in five probably.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll be happy if it's six. But I if it's so I think this is obvious. I'd want to go against the Rockets if you gave me a choice. I'm praying we can nab the seventh seed after playing is done. Um, I don't want to play Dallas because Anthony Davis always kills us whenever we play him. Like whenever we played him against the Lakers in the past and whatsoever. Uh, Triple J does or Jaren Jackson, as amazing as he has had this season, he just can't size up against Davis and his sheer force. And I don't trust ED with his just newness to the league. And we are out Brandon Clark for the season, so that is our size is immensely limited. I don't trust Jay Huff in his playoff series, as great as he was at the beginning of the season. And then after that, like, where's your size? I mean, Santi Aldama is great, but he's not a defensive stopper. He's fine on defense. Like he he's not gonna stop the best second best or even potentially the third best player.
Defense has
Um,
been a struggle for you guys lately. I think
I
you are bottom five in the league. Not, I looked up my stats before the game against Detroit last night, and you guys are really falling apart at the seams uh, in terms of
that's why we
defense.
I mean, we talked about it last week when with Jenkins getting fired and we fired our lead defensive coach and um oh my God, St. Andrews. And then Nolo Roach was our lead offensive coordinator. So I think that shows where things were at.
Yeah.
Dad, go like so defense is struggling. I appreciate the compliment towards like us being a good matchup against OKC. Uh, I don't know, man. That combo of Hartenstein and Holmgren is just a brute force that
Yeah.
you can't. It's just gonna be. They're always gonna be able to have one of those guys on the floor. Like that's not something that you want to go against.
A couple of interesting numbers with that is so you guys are in 25th at opposition's points per game in the league,
Mhm.
25th, which is surprising. And you're second in your own points per game. So your differential is only 4.7. That's not bad. But you're second in points per game and rebounds per game. That it blew me away when I saw a second in both of those categories because I don't think of you guys as a running team. I really don't.
I mean,
And
we were a running team. Like with Jenkins' own regime, we were a running team.
okay,
But this
um,
season, it was a very much everybody eats kind of a system,
well, I mean,
which is why a lot of things ended up falling apart because John ended up getting pushed aside. Sorry, random side note.
well, we'll see. Going forward, uh, Houston. I don't think you guys would. I think that Ime Udoka is like the best coach next to. Well, there's a few, but next to Spolstra, he's right in top five. I mean, so I would not want to face him. Um, Dane Galt, or however you pronounce his last name, to me is
Dagnall.
unproven. What was that?
Oh, Dagnall for OKC.
Yeah.
He's got a young
I
team to start, which doesn't help. But yes,
it
you're
it
right.
is it does go to show that the more war torn teams always do better in the playoffs. I it would be an interesting matchup with OKC. I fear where the level that SJA pushes to, and I think Caruso having that playoff experience will actually help, even though it's been a few years since he's been to the playoffs. He still has a championship under his belt, so he can still be sitting there screaming at everybody. And last year, one of OKC's biggest downfalls was Josh Giddey basically getting played off of the court, and they solved that by getting rid of Josh Giddey
Rating him. Yeah.
and replacing him with a very solid defensive stopper who is literally going to be in Jaws shorts every time he's on the court, which is exactly what happened last time we played them.
I think
Minus of the games he was out, so I'll say that.
I may be undermining what I said about OKC, but just to hear it out for what it's worth. Okay, they've got the second rated defense, fourth rated offense as far as points per game. Some of their accolades are amazing. They're the youngest team ever to get 60 wins. They are 29-1 against the Eastern Conference, and they're only lost to the Eastern Conference. I couldn't believe it when I read it. It was from the Emirates Cup
I was
back
gonna
in
say, was that against?
against the Bucks.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it. So, I mean, at least I was expecting it was like the first game of the season. They played the Wizards or something like that, and they just didn't come in prepared. Something bizarre like that. But it was a decent loss, although they lost by 16 points. But since then, they're 29-1. They've had 50 wins by more than 10 points or 10 points or more. They have the best point differential ever, total as well as average. I mean,
do we make a cutting comment that they just lost their first back to back of the season today?
Yeah, and that takes them out of my next comment was, are they going to be the third team to 70?
Nope.
I didn't get to scratch that one out of my notes, but whatever.
It's okay. I think it would have been an incredibly tough ask for them. I'm always game for watching history being made. Like I think we're always wanting to see that amazing stat. But I think at some point you just feel like, hey, SGA and Williams and Chet, take it easy. Oh, they got like an amazing supporting cast. So next, you take SGA out of the game, and then you got Aaron Wiggins coming in and just completely obliterating everybody. So I mean,
That's a good point. From here on out, there's no record to be set or no incredible season for them to look ahead to. So I saw in the game against LA today, SGA only played 26 minutes. The game was pretty much over at halftime. They were down by like 26. Do you think they just ride it out like that the rest of the season? I don't think they totally throw in the towel, but it looks like they don't have much to play for. They're a solid lock for first.
They got to play the Lakers what,
Two
in 2
days.
days again?
Yeah, Tuesday. Yep.
It's another one for them.
Yeah, but after that, it's Phoenix, Utah, and New Orleans.
Yeah.
Well, I think we got the cupcake end of the season, so I'm kind of thankful. We have
I
Pelicans.
Houston has a tough gauntlet. And then who else was it? I believe the Clippers have a they got to play the Clippers got to play Houston and Golden State. Memphis has a pretty tough end of the season. It's funny some of these trying to like the what is it, the 3 through 8 all have a pretty interesting actually it's kind of funny, we kind of all play each other.
Yeah, so with the 3 through 8 seeds, the Lakers actually have the hardest schedule up ahead. So they beat OKC today, which was huge, but they only have one home game remaining. And then there's, I think, just like one team that's below 500 that they play.
they play
Uh,
OKC on the 8th, Dallas on the 9th, which I have a question mark. Is LeBron going to play in that game?
Yeah,
Does he
I was
play in
just
back?
looking at that.
so here's one thing
And
that
it's
could
at
happen.
Dallas too, so it's Luca's got to play, right?
It's got to at least be there. I don't know.
I'm
Does he
telling
play?
you, Anthony Davis will be playing, but then they have
I you know
Houston and Portland.
I wonder if Luca does even show up to the Dallas game. He just is
Nope,
like, I'm good,
nope,
I'm gonna stay home.
nope, nope. He's not going to do that. He's bigger than that.
Unlike their owners.
Their owners are just confused. I think I don't know what else to say. They don't have a clue.
Well,
I
they're
think
they're
this is a
gambling
I
on him not being durable. So they're playing the long game of not this season, maybe not next, but in 2 or 3 seasons, he starts falling apart. And
Well, it's funny that you mentioned gambling because I guess the owners of the Mavericks are known for owning casinos.
Oh, you're right. Ha!
They are so
There's a
I
little
guess
conundrum
so
there.
they're just really just they just can't get enough of this stuff, man.
I have a good news point. News flash. Sacramento won, Ben.
oh my
120,
goodness.
113. So good one for you guys. Uh, to segue into
To all the watchers, you guys dodged a massive bullet because if they lost, Ben was going to probably take his shirt off.
but Sacramento and Phoenix have actually the worst schedules if you're looking at the Western Conference. And I thought it was Sacramento because I was looking at them in Dallas, but I also looked at Phoenix just because they are. I mean, they're only 2 games back, but Phoenix will
They're
probably.
not making it. They're out. I have a hard time believing it.
They're two
I
full
do
games
too,
out
but
now. They're 2 full games out from Sacramento. I think Sacramento holds the tiebreaker between the two of them.
well, not right now. It's 2.5, and Phoenix is losing. Last I looked to the Knicks by 10, and Jalen Brunson returned. So, so it's going to soon be 3 games back with 4 games to
Potentially.
play.
Mhm.
So it's a 10-point game in the third quarter, 67
I
57.
I wanted to bring this up, and I think this is a good time to bring it up because we were just talking about Dallas and their ownership, and now we're talking about Phoenix being nothing less than a dumpster fire. It's something interesting that I was when I was getting ready for this was so Phoenix, Dallas, and Minnesota. Grant Minnesota's doing the best. They're in the slog of 46 wins with everybody else in the Western Conference, and uh, Minnesota, they're just switched over to new ownership. Obviously Dallas just had new ownership this past last year, and then Phoenix, this is their second year with new ownership. Two, right? It's about 2.5 years, right?
Right, right. It was March of, or no,
It was February. It was like around
February.
February of 23
Yeah.
was when Ishbia took over. Um, they all three of these teams have had new ownership and they've all had something drastically done. Ishbia came in and just wanted to trade for any superstar he could literally throw at a dartboard, throw a dart at a dartboard on. Dallas I think it's been well said enough that I don't want to bore anybody. Minnesota this offseason, they traded Karl Anthony Towns for Julius Randle, to say the least. And that was very much seen as a cost-cutting move to help set up for the team being sold to A-Rod, and I don't remember who his partner's name is. But it really was, it's very interesting to see that happening and then looking at them in the standings, because before Dallas traded Luca, they were very much in it. They were a fourth or fifth seed, and they would, I still believe, be a fourth or fifth seed, because we're just going to assume that Kyrie doesn't get injured because they haven't lost. They still have Luca, and they're not having to play him 40 minutes a game. And then Derek Lively comes back about now and starts getting into playoff speed. And so it's very interesting to see that 2 years, no, not for Minnesota, but these were all once, these teams were all pushing for a level of prominence 2 years ago. Minnesota, they had that rough season when they first got Gobert, but last year they were second in the Western Conference. 2 years ago, Phoenix was number one in the Western Conference, and last year Dallas was in the finals, and they still were top four, or what was they? They were fourth seed, correct? Or were they third seed? They were fourth seed because they played OKC in the second round. So, you look at that and you look at what new ownership is. And Dad, I'm sorry to say this to you, but you start wondering, like, all right, well, they got the Celtics going, with their new
No,
ownership. So, how are you guys going to look in 2 years? I,
2 years,
it,
1 year. Plus,
at
Jalen
the at
Brown's slow to recover, but
it makes you
we'll
think that,
see.
like, when teams go to sell now, if there's going to be any kind of like push to stop the new ownership from completely obliterating the team's future.
Well,
Or of like
other
there's
teams are
some,
trying
I
to.
don't have the exact answer for it, but it makes you wonder, hey, should we be doing something about preventing new ownership from completely ejecting a team from its current
Well, they
prominence?
want to put their own stamp on the team.
Oh,
They
100%.
and so, and I get it. I get the trade with, well, Cat made it more affordable, but then Glenn
Mhm.
Taylor wanted to nix the trade because all of a sudden they're better. There's so many layers to that. Ishbia, sure, with Kevin Durant out there wanting to make a splash, boom, splash. And while I got the money flowing, I think I'll pick up Bradley Beal in that
Who has
awful
the
contract.
worst contract in the league?
Yep, for sure, 100% sure. Dallas was. We're going to wait and see. That's a long, long road, but he definitely didn't win any points with the court of public opinion.
Fans didn't like it, and definitely in the short run, settling for the ninth or possibly even the 10th seed in the playoffs doesn't look very good.
I
No,
mean, I've even when you bring up Donald Sterling with the Clippers, I think like last I knew, that was the last time I've ever seen there's a complete other than Phoenix's old owner, Sarver.
Sarver.
I've yeah, I even with Sarver, like, it wasn't as bad, and like Sterling was, I think, the worst when it came to um people revolting against the owner. And
Well, he
that
was a
doesn't even, I
racist.
think,
He,
you
he
He's
got
a
kicked out.
racist,
well, no,
It
what
doesn't
I'm
get much
saying,
worse
like,
than
he got
that.
kicked out, but like I still feel like the Dallas fan base hates I'm sorry, I can't remember their owner.
Nico.
What's that?
Nico.
No, that's their GM.
was the
But
GM. Yeah.
I I still don't see how, like, I still believe Dallas hates their owner more than the Clippers hated Sterling. That's where I'm at.
We'll
Media
see after a
backlash.
couple of years.
I think we'll see. Let's get
When
back to
they're the
the playoff
when they're
picture.
the Vegas
So
Mavericks. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
we're gonna add two teams, not move two teams.
No, move
Well,
one team.
it may be the only safe thing for Nico Harrison and the rest of the ownership to do.
All right, so let's get to making some predictions based on where things land in the Western Conference with what we know today. I know there's still some games happening. Golden State plays a little later. Nuggets play a little later as well. So at this point, Oklahoma City is a lock for one. Houston Rockets are a lock for two, and then basically seeds 3 through 6 are open. Oh, sorry, seeds 3 through 8 are like wide open, so anything could happen. I've got the Golden State Warriors in the third seed. I made that before the Lakers won today, just based on the Lakers' schedule, only having that one home game and then having to play OKC again. We'll see if OKC throws the second game, but I just don't doubt this Warriors team in the playoffs to finish out the regular season strong. I think they'll land third. I've got the Lakers in fourth, and then the Nuggets holding on to fifth, with the T-Wolves in sixth. Clippers seventh, Grizzlies eight, and then the Mavericks and the Kings in the ninth and the 10th seeds. What
Okay,
do you
I'm
got,
going to
Dad?
jump in. Okay,
Yeah,
well,
go.
uh, I still was. I thought that the Nuggets were going to jump the Lakers, but they're still a game behind, or was it a game and a half
Game and a
since they
half
won?
now. Yep.
Um, so I think I'm going to have to flip that and go with Lakers 3, Nuggets 4, Warriors 5. I know this is really not that hard of predictions, but the only one I would flip would be the Clippers jumping the Wolves, the
Oh.
Timberwolves, and Grizzlies 8. And I'm sorry, but I'm going to say is Dallas and Sacramento don't really count. They're not going to make any noise.
One
Congratulations on a great win today. That was a great win. You held on.
beat a good
And you
Cavs team.
didn't, and you don't, you didn't get kicked out of the plan from the Suns.
That's right. Yep.
So that does count for something, especially losing De'Aaron Fox. A couple quick bullet points. The Warriors are 19-2 when Jimmy and Steph play together.
Mhm.
19-2. And they've got some pretty impressive stats. They're fifth in rebounding, fourth in assists per game, eighth in opposition points per game, and they've got a really soft schedule. That was the one thing, and as you were saying it, Ben, that you were going to have them jump. The
Their
thing
schedule
is,
is the easiest. They have the easiest schedule through the end of the season. As long as everybody stays healthy, I think they could win out. And I'm going to pick the Lakers to lose 2 games, and that's why I had the Warriors jumping them.
the Warriors are playing Houston at Houston tonight.
Yes.
Going to be interesting. I'm not making any predictions. I kept them in the 5. You know,
All right. What do you got, Daniel?
I lost my train of thought. Going into this week, I really thought Denver had no problem had anchoring down the third spot. No problem. And then they just go and drop 3 games. Like, no problem. So, granted, one of those games, they didn't have Jokic, they didn't have Murray. So,
is
you
Jokic
know,
100%? And if he isn't 100% for the playoffs, then they're not going to make any noise without Jokic.
no.
That is a pretty
Pretty
good
humble
starting
Nuggets
5,
team.
but not much more.
Yeah.
That's what
It,
they are. Pretty good.
I mean, he took on such an offensive load at the beginning of the season that you were wondering that if he was going to just completely burn out, gas out, and that could be the end take of it. I mean, I like I said, going into this week, I was confident with Denver in 3, and man, I was gonna say LA and Golden State just basically going at each other in the first round for 4 and 5, and you can just flip a coin on who gets home court. But now, honestly, I could totally see LA and Golden State finishing 3 and 4. and then that would put Denver at what 5 and taking on one of them. I if I'm Denver, I'm praying that I can get LA because you could just kill them in size. So if I'm Denver, I'm pushing for a 4-5 matchup. Um, and then I would say 6. I would put I'm with you, Dad. Clippers hopping Minnesota. They've been playing way better as of late. Kawhi's looking to form.
He's healthy.
Yeah, I mean, you take that with a grain of salt. Same with he and Harden, but I mean, they Kawhi still has um two Finals MVPs. You still have to take that into consideration.
Tyronn Lue
Until
is
what's
a
that?
Tyronn Lue is a
Amazing
championship winning
coach.
coach. I'd put
They
him
have a
in the
great
top
supporting
five.
cast.
Him, Steve Kerr, Spoelstra. Uh, I think that he's going to make the difference as just as long as Kawhi is healthy.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
that's always a huge, huge
If
if.
Yep. They are hot. They've won 10 out of their last 12. The reason that I put the T-Wolves ahead of them is that the T-Wolves play the Bucks, then they play the Grizzlies, the Nets, and the Jazz to close out the season. So looking at those four teams, I think that 2 wins for sure. If they can beat the Grizz, maybe, and then the Bucks are, shell themselves. So that's why I had them over the Clippers. Because the Clippers still have to play the Rockets and the Warriors, and those are going to be 2 tough games.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, the bright side of this is, you know, everybody's on top of each other. So, these 5 teams all have to show up. Even Houston, to some respect, because I'm sure Udoka is probably just getting them into form
Yeah,
right now and pushing them as hard as they possibly can. I think the only game off they're going to have is the last game of the season.
that's a good
Yeah.
point.
I want to give a special shout out to the Grace and Mercy Club. Listen to the Celtics' final 5 games: Washington, the Knicks, Orlando, Charlotte, and Charlotte. I just like to thank all the people who wrote these wonderful schedules. And both of those games against Charlotte are at home.
Oh, you poor things.
But it's interesting. It's interesting that you're writing them a thankful note because I just left a flaming bag of poop on their front doorstep for the Grizzlies' last 20 games.
Maybe you threw that poop on top of my thank you note.
Oh man! Although part of that's self-inflicted, so I mean, I you can only say so much, so many angry things all at once. Really quick, going back to playing that, Phoenix is 1 game ahead of Portland.
Portland just has to lose
Portland,
once, or you guys have to win once, and it's over. I think they're
yeah,
4 games
No,
back.
I'm just making a general statement. Think about that. Phoenix, who has Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, one of the highest payrolls in the league, is 1 game ahead of the Portland Trailblazers,
Oh,
a
who've done
team
a
who is.
total reboot.
Mhm.
yep. All right.
Wow.
Well, I think on that note, we're about out of time. This has been Husbands Know Better. Catch you next time.